there guys, how's it going? It's Afraid Not, and welcome to part 2, if you will, in my review of E3 press conference that happened on Monday of this week. As you guys know, E3 has been on all week and there's been a lot of things that have been announced, but I'm really just going to be talking about the press conferences that are actually at the beginning, which is obviously Monday, and today we'll be talking about the Sony one. Now, Sony's one was interesting, although I would say it was probably just as good as the Xbox One, or just as bad, however you want to put it. I don't think you could really tell them both apart. I don't think like it was like a complete washout like it was last year, where Sony just completely owned E3. But don't get me wrong, I don't think it was a bad conference. I just feel a little bit underwhelmed from everyone, I think, this year. So yeah, first of all, they talked about Destiny. Destiny is a game that I am highly anticipating, and I've since seen a lot of gameplay. I think that the alpha has actually been released now. I applied for a key. I don't think I've got it. I haven't yet, and I think they were giving out keys, I think, today. So I don't think I've actually been accepted for the alpha, which is a shame. As I say, I've seen a lot of gameplay ever since the E3, but it looks really good. It looks like a Borderlands. It looks like a good graphic Borderlands, whereas if you've played Borderlands, you'll know that it is a very cartoony style. It's got its own very different kind of graphic or fidelity, if you want to call it that. It's really weird and different, and I do like that about Borderlands, but Destiny looks like a realistic version of that. It's an open world game. I don't know if it's MMO. I think it is. They're branding it as an MMO, but it doesn't look like your typical MMO that you could probably play on PC. It just does just look like Borderlands, where you've got a single player game, a massive world where you'll be able to explore, and what I can seem to have gathered is that you can only play with friends and other people only if you invite them. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me in the comments. I'd love it to be just an open world game where you have, you know, like 100 players on a server on the same map, or you see what I'm saying. You know where I'm going with that. I hope it is like that, just like The Division, and I spoke about that briefly before. I hope it is that kind of concept. If not, then maybe I'll be a little bit disappointed, I have to admit, but then I think I'm going to have a lot of friends to play it with anyway, so I'll be inviting in a load of people. Next thing they showcased was the Order 1886. Now, I saw the first trailer back, I think, last E3, and I was okay with it. I sort of watched it and I was like, it looks okay. And to be honest, my opinion hasn't really changed at all. I mean, the graphics look absolutely stunning, but all you really saw at E3 was just cutscene after cutscene and a little bit of gameplay. I mean, it looks fantastic, but it was very dark, really hard to make out any real textures. I don't think that the final game is going to look anything like it did at E3, so that might be a little bit disappointing, but you know, we just don't know. We haven't seen enough, I don't think. Then they talked about Entwined, a game called Entwined. It's an indie game. It looked like something that I could probably run on my Android, so I really wasn't interested in that at all. They then showed Little Big Planet 3. Now, it's quite funny. I have played this in the past. Now, my current girlfriend, she actually asked me, because I had a PS3 before, and she said, oh, can we get Little Big Planet 2? I think it was in game. I was looking for something, and she saw it pre-owned, and I was like, yeah, go on then, let's grab it. It was only like £5 or something, and I got it back to my place, and we sat there together, and we had a little go at it, and I actually had a lot of fun playing it, I have to admit. A bit too much fun for that type of game. I'm not really interested in kind of kiddie games or silly games, to be perfectly honest, but I played this game and I was just like, this is actually a lot of fun, and I don't think we got that far into it, but it's a game that I'm interested in. I'd like to see a little bit more, maybe for something that me and my girlfriend can sit down and play together, you know, who knows. They then went on to show a few extra games which I just really weren't interested in, so it's not really something I really want to talk about. But the next big game that I'm really looking forward to is Far Cry 4, and they showed actual gameplay, I believe. I get really confused because I watched the Ubisoft press conference and I keep thinking one of them just showed trailers, the other one showed actual gameplay. I'm sure the Sony one was the one that showed the gameplay, so I'm going to talk about the gameplay. I love Far Cry 3. I bought it just as a complete surprise. Never played the Far Cry series before. Played it, absolutely loved it, completed this story. I didn't do anything else apart from the story, but that was just enough to get me interested. The characters in Far Cry 3 especially were just phenomenal. I hope that they're going to do the same kind of thing with Far Cry 4. It looks amazing. The graphics, just, yeah, I mean, I keep talking about graphics again. This is if you saw my last video, I did go on a little bit too much about graphics, but yeah, it's an open world, typical Ubisoft game. The colours in the game were just lovely. Yeah, no, a game that I'm really looking forward to, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that one. They then showed a little bit of gameplay of Dead Island 2. I never played the first Dead Island. I didn't really like the look of it, to be honest. I know it's quite popular in the series, or quite a popular series for fans and this, that and the other, but I'm just not interested in that. To be honest, I'm not a big zombie fan. I like Daisy, but anything other than that, anything to do with zombies and monsters especially, I'm not really that interested in. But yeah, they then talked about The Last of Us obviously coming for PS4, and they're combining it with Diablo 3 or something. So when you actually get Diablo 3, you can play against clickers from The Last of Us, the game. I mean, you know, gimmicky, really not really anything interested in. Battlefield Hardline, they next showed obviously the trailer for that. They released the beta. I played the beta, as you guys know. I posted a video in it already. I'm gonna do a more in-depth video on it. I might actually do an IOM for it, even though it is a beta. I might just do an IOM one so I can go over it, talk to you guys for what I, you know, talk about some of the things that I don't like about the game and some things that I do. There's quite a few different opinions I've got about that, but yeah, I'll cover that in another video. They then waffled on a little bit more about indie games. As you guys probably can gather from my voice, I'm just not interested in indie games. I think I said that in the last video. I just cannot. I've not actually found an indie game that I've really been interested in and actually had me gripped. So I just don't play them. I just can't be arsed with it, to be honest. So maybe on my phone, but on a console, I do like AAA games. I do like games with a little bit of substance to them and longevity. But yeah, then they talked about the Project Morpheus, I think it's called. It's the mask thing. They were beta testing, I think, at E3. I think we're going to hear a lot more about that come the end of the week, because obviously people are going to have their hands on it. Something I'm interested in. Again, gimmicky. I wouldn't use the thing for gaming. I've got different opinions on what I think that would be good for. Maybe that's a topic to cover. YouTube coming to PS4. I mean, Xbox One have already got that. I think Xbox 360 even had that, so I mean, that's not massive news for someone like me, but you know, it's always handy to have, especially for people that only own PlayStation 4, so that's always good. They talked about PlayStation Now. I like that idea, I really do, where I think you could just buy a Sony telly and a DualShock controller. And what I gather of it is that you're able to access a library that I think Sony hold loads and loads of games, and you could just play them, or for like a fee, you know, like a renting fee, something like that. I really do like the idea of it, I have to admit, and I cannot wait to see a lot more, and especially if it does come out, you know, especially for PlayStation 4, if you can start playing, you know, PlayStation 1, 2 and 3 games on the PlayStation 4, that is something that obviously I think we'd all love to have, you know, have that option. Let's get back talking about some of the games. I think they spoke about Mortal Kombat. I've never played a fighting game. I think I kind of remember playing something on the PlayStation 1, maybe Tekken, the first ever Tekken, but after that I've never played anything like it, and I've never really been interested in it. I got Killer Instinct, I think, for free on Xbox One, and I'd never played it. I installed it, but I actually never put it on. So, but Mortal Kombat X, I think it's called, looks phenomenal. I have to admit, that is a game that I'm really interested in. I hope it's not going to be like a full price release, because a game like that, I can't see how you can kind of justify that kind of thing. Whereas I think Killer Instinct had the right model where it was free to play, and then if you wanted any extra characters or anything, I think you can then sort of like pay and have that. Yeah, I hope that's the kind of business model they're going to go for. I doubt it. It probably will be a AAA title, you know, they might charge you full price for it. I hope they don't, but yeah, that's a game I'm really interested in. Looked really nice. I love the way that you could put a hole into someone's stomach and then just all their insides just sort of kind of like fall through the hole. It's, yeah, I know it sounds gruesome, but I love all that, and that really interested me, which was quite a surprise to me, especially. Next thing, what else did they talk about? They talked about a TV show called Paugos. I mean, really, who cares? This is why Xbox got slaughtered last year, because they talked too much about TV, they talked too much about Kinects, and they talk too much about indie games. And with that, obviously, I mean, even the what do you call it, the Kinect didn't get mentioned at all in the Microsoft press conference, but the actual Sony camera did get mentioned in their conference. Like, completely the tables are turned. I hope Sony do not go down that road. They need to kind of get out of that as quickly as possible, because they would harp on a little bit too long about indie games, about this TV show called Powers. I mean, I wish they'd just shown like a trailer or something, but no, they talked for a good 10 minutes about it. And obviously the Sony camera, which they did say was optional, which is kind of a little dig at it, which did make me chuckle. But yeah, obviously Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain, looked great. I've never played Metal Gear Solid. Again, maybe I'm a little bit too late into the franchise. I kind of feel when you get into sort of like the 5th and 6th game in the series, especially like Final Fantasy, I mean, how can anyone get into them type of games sort of halfway through? That is why I really appreciate the fact that Halo is coming out, like all of them on one disc, because I'll be able to play it from start to finish, and I won't feel too sort of bad like jumping in, because I played Reach and I played 4 and I didn't play the single player because I didn't think there was any point. I didn't understand the story. So maybe the same kind of case again. I won't play Metal Gear Solid. It looks great, but I won't play it purely because I haven't played any of the other games. They then showed Grand Theft Auto 5 coming out for PS4. They didn't mention Xbox One or PC, but it is coming out for the other 2 consoles, so bear that in mind. I know a lot of people are arguing against me on Twitter saying, oh no, it's only coming for PS4. No, it's coming out on all of them, and I'll probably get it on PC rather than anything, because I cannot wait to see the mods that people are going to bring out for that game. I cannot wait to see it. They brought out some fantastic mods for Grand Theft Auto 4, and hopefully the same people will get hold of Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe do some of the same stuff, some things different. So I really look forward to that. I will be getting it for PC. And another thing which I think needs to be cleared up a little bit is that if you buy Grand Theft Auto 5 for PlayStation 4 and you owned it on a 360 previously, your save data will transfer over to PlayStation 4, and I believe vice versa. So if you had it on PS3 and you've got the Xbox One, it does the same, and I think obviously it'll be the same for PC. So hopefully that clears that up. That has been confirmed and that will happen. So I know a lot of people are a little bit confused about that. And the last game they showed was Batman Arkham Knight. I never played the first 3 Batman games. They looked great to play. The combat system, I know I keep going on about with Assassin's Creed how much I hate it. This one, if Assassin's Creed went down that kind of road of Batman, maybe that's got a little bit old now, I mean, I don't know, but I think that will make Assassin's Creed a better game. The combat system on Batman has been renowned phenomenal. It's like everyone has said nothing but good things about it, so maybe I could get this one. I mean, the graphics look stunning. I think they're introducing the Batmobile for the first time. I don't think they've actually done that in the previous game, so that's really interesting. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like with the whole press conference as a whole, they focused, as I say, too much on indie games, on TV, and the Sony camera. Like, I didn't want to hear that from Microsoft, and I certainly didn't want to hear that from Sony. But it was a good press conference. As I say, it wasn't any better than Xbox, wasn't any worse than Xbox. It was quite, you know, it was okay, you know, average. I feel underwhelmed with the whole week so far, so hopefully a few more things will get announced, and hopefully I will get this alpha key for Destiny. If not, the beta is out, I believe, on July 17th of next month on PS4 and PC, I think. I could be wrong again, but yeah, if I am wrong, correct me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's been another long one. Hopefully the next one isn't going to be too long. I might talk about the EA one next, so yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a rating, and if you're new around here, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Yeah.